comes out. Maybe some surprises. Wait for some folks to show up. Take a look and see what I've been working on behind the scenes. Okay, we'll work on this guy over here first. Whoa, whoa, whoa. What's going on there, guy? Right. I'm going to keep these lines nice and cartoony tonight. You know what? To heck with that, let's go straight to inks with this. We'll skip a couple steps tonight. It's easier for me to feel more confident whenever I'm just drawing the like a cartoony style, I guess. Nah, I changed my mind. I'm not going to do that. Feeling a little wobbly there. See, I'm just messing around. I won't go back to the red. Just to get a nice confident. Not feeling confident there. All right. Kind of just winging this one. I can draw through and stuff like that. Don't have to worry about the lines too much. Patch there. I did find as I was cleaning there, I found some, I should have brought it on the stream, darn. Some of my old comic strips that were in newspapers. So most people don't know that I was had a comic in newspapers for a couple of years called Gravity. That was one of my first dreams, was to be in newspapers with my comic strip. I got to do that a little bit. You know, maybe now that I'm thinking about it, I should have drawn those characters. That's what I should have done tonight. One moment. I think we're going to change this up. Let me go find that. It's right back here somewhere. Finding it. Okay. Maybe not. Where did I put it? Darn it. I've lost it. Uno momento. Thought I had it here. God darn it. Huh. Okay. I don't know where it's at. Never mind. We'll wing it. Just had it here. That's how messy my office is right now. Just can't find anything. Can't find anything good. It's alright. Anyways, I did a strip called Gravity. Newspapers. That's what this kind of reminds me of. And it was about a little kid. It's about a little kid that lived on a space station in the future. And he had a pet. I'm just gonna draw him because, man. All right, I'm trying to remember them from memory. Let's do it. We're gonna shrink these guys down. Change my mind. Oh, yeah, I'm starting over. First time. Didn't know. I didn't have an idea tonight, but now that it's called Dead Space and I'm thinking about those characters, I'm just gonna draw them. So the main character's name was Zip Pandoozle. And he had like a shape like this. Right. I know he had some big old shoes. We'll get it. He had some big shoes. Kind of had these different eyes that were. Yeah, I got it now. He had these kind of eyes going on. We'll get it. We're gonna draw Zip and his beast. He had a pet Galgakian wildebeest. All right. So yeah, Zip lived on a space station and was kind of there for like school, like a boarding school kind of in outer space. Think like Deep Space Nine, but and then I think he had kind of this thing going on. It's out there somewhere. This is like 1999 newspapers. There was a character I'm going to draw him to. Probably. We can bust out these real quick. Captain Crafty was like a really mishapped space explorer or a space adventurer guy. I don't know. All right, I'm feeling better about tonight now that I can draw these old characters. That's been kind of a theme for me. I've drawn Crackers this month. I've drawn Monkey Man. I'll go way back here with Zip Pandoozle from Gravity. Oh, we're gonna draw the. I'd say those are probably there was four main characters. Now that I'm thinking of it, there was Zip here. So we're gonna draw him. He's holding a leash. You'll find out why in a second. Right. And like really crazy, super. They were like space boots almost. Hey, Hero Hotel. You missed it. I changed my drawing prompt. I went from drawing something else I wasn't feeling. Didn't know what I was going to draw tonight. And then as I was cleaning my office today, I found my old comic strips from 1999 that were in the newspaper called Gravity. So I'm drawing those characters now. I can remember. So yeah, one of the things in the one of the concepts in the strip was that there are these things called Galgakian wildebeests. And they're these little floating octopus looking things here. You'll see in a minute. 3 eyeballs. Always annoyed. Yeah, I did probably 2 years of Gravity, maybe a year and a half in the newspapers. Talk a little bit about that because that's an interesting story. I used to be in about what I did first was, I was pitching this to syndicates and they were turning me down. And so what I did was I read this thing somewhere of these other guys. I forget their names. They were from like Las Vegas or something, Nevada. And they had done self syndication, and all they did was they got this list of newspapers, smaller market newspapers, and they put out their own press packets. So I made a little press packet for Gravity, and I just sent it out to and this is kind of like right, Gravity was online somewhere on Keenspace for a minute, and so I had a little thing online. I had a little disc of, you could put the disc in, and it was like an archive of the strip and stuff like that. But mainly, I would reach out to these newspapers, and I'd get their phone number of the editor, and I would just cold call them and send out these packages. And you know, editors were open to it. They were like, "Oh, we don't have a space strip," and they would put it in weird spots in their newspaper. But over about 3 months of hustling, I got it into about 50 newspapers. Now, that seems like a lot. That's a lot, actually. And I'd have this system where usually it was some newspapers had a link where you could upload your strips for the week ahead of time. And some people would say just put it somewhere. They couldn't, there wasn't really Dropbox or anything like that. You had to have like FTP access. So I got a little server where they could like download it from a website. I forget how I did that. Just like there was a service back then that'll let you do it for a couple bucks. And I would just give that link to the editors, and they would download it, and then I'd send them a bill. And I was doing that for a little bit. Um, and so I had these papers I had about 30 myself. That's right. I had about 30 papers, but it was a lot of work. Again, like just the story of my life. Like, wow, why did I do this? Like, I couldn't get syndicated, so I was just like, F it, I'm going to do it myself. And wow, I'm pretty impressed that I remember. This is really, this really looks like them. Wow. I guess when you draw them for years, over and over again, it's been a long time. A long time. And then we're going to draw Captain Crafty here. He's taller, He's kind of the stupid hero. Kind of like, I don't know, a cowardly, not cowardly, just always kind of derpy. But there was like books about him and stuff. But then when he showed up on the Gravity space station, he was kind of a dork. I don't know. I think he had a belt buckle like that, and then he had a little, just a Saturn thing on his shirt. There wasn't a whole lot of comics about space back then, so I thought, man, surely this will be awesome. But you know, syndicates didn't want it. That's for sure. Okay, had little pads there. And then this character looked very familiar because I drew him just like I did Drew Price with from my Your Mama comic, but he had like this kind of head. Oh wait, hold on. A little bit different. Kind of like a cheesy guy. That's what I'm thinking of, like a cheesy adventurer guy that's kind of like a total F up as well. Captain Crafty. And he had those eyes that I like to draw. He had a widow's peak. And then I just made I wanted the hair to be super easy to draw over and over again. So I just had it like, not like that. It was more like yeah, that's how it was. So it was very much looking like the Drew Price character with a different haircut, kind of, sort of. Anyways, that's Captain Crafty. And I'm going to draw as many characters as I can remember. He had boots. They all had like real thick moon boot looking boots that could or could not make them fly or whatever. I don't know. You know, whatever. I think I tried to make it as easy as possible too, with like the outfits being black, you know, because if it was a black and white comic strip, I wanted to have some contrast on the pants. Elbows. Right. Man, I did a lot actually, now that I'm thinking about it, really bringing this back. Like, we had a character named Moldy Baloney who was a space pirate. It was. He was just a moldy, like, you know, his name was Moldy Baloney. So he's a moldy piece of baloney and with an eye patch. Man, I just had that packet here. Where the frick did I put it? Did I put it in the closet? Did I? Uh-oh. Alright, I'm destroying it. That's a bummer. I literally just took it off the shelf and everything is bothering me. Okay, never mind. It's gonna keep bothering me. So that's Captain Crafty. Make his head a little bit bigger here. Gosh, my kids were really little when this was going on. Yeah. Come on. Yeah. Galgaki and Wildebeest were the most ferocious aliens in the galaxy, supposedly, and then they were just tamed. But like, he's actually descended, so he's always like, you know, like, get away from me, human! I'm gonna destroy this planet, and he's on a leash, right? Wow. Let's get rid of that. Just kind of reminiscent now. Might be really hard to find on Google. It was 1999 or something like that. Maybe it's still on Keenspace somewhere. Gravity. No. Then let's see what we have here. They were black and white characters for the most part because they were just black and white strips. So but the Galgaki and Wildebeest here. Um, his name was Spots. I think I can't remember that. Yeah, it was Spot. And then they had a um, robot. So when I draw my little robots to this day, I draw like a shape like this, little lines like this for his arms. And this robot was kind of like the babysitter kind of thing. So your classic trope, I guess, robot babysitter. Because I don't know what the idea was that these kids got dropped off at this space station while their parents were doing God knows what, but they came to school and did their school and all that stuff at the space station for like a season or something. I don't know. Never thought about where the parents were. It didn't matter. But Zip got to hang out with Captain Crafty and you know, right. Every once in a while, I think Zip's dad would show up on the screen on this robot's chest. I can't remember the name of the robot's name either, but it was something, and it would just float around. It was a little bit bigger than that. Yeah, let's make it two size. About that size. I did not do color strips for the weekends. No, I only did 6 days a week, just because I could only get in the color strips. How that worked usually, if they had a color section of the comics, because usually the comic newspapers that I was going after were just the local dailies, and they didn't have a Sunday version. They would have like a regional newspaper that would take care of their stuff. So the syndicates grabbed all that spot up. But I'd gotten the idea somewhere from God, I can't remember the names of the comics anymore. These two guys that were they were doing their own self syndication, and I'm like, and there was a little list somewhere online, and I was like, what? So I grabbed that list, or I found out how they said how to get the list of newspapers in different regions. There's usually six or seven back then. There was six or seven smaller newspapers. Like here in my town, we had the Daily Courier. Even small towns would have their little daily or weekly newspapers. So some of the newspapers would actually put all six strips in, just stacked up. There wasn't much money in that, man. It was like some people would pay $5 to $7 per week for the feature, so almost like $1 a day. But then if you get 50, think about that. 50 papers, $1 a day times whatever. So, you know, and I signed with this syndicate called Press Media Group, and it turned out they had I don't know. I should have never signed that with them. I thought this would be, oh look, a syndicate's actually coming in. Now a syndicate wants to deal with me. It was called Press Media Group, PMG. I still have a press pass somewhere they sent me, which was funny. But it seemed to me that they wanted my list. They wanted my list that I cultivated, and I didn't want to give them that. But they were like, well, if you're signing with us, you have to give us all the papers, names, and contacts that you're in so that we can send them our package, and we'll put you in our package that we send out. And basically, their package was full of a bunch of like horoscopes and like crossword puzzles and really, really bad stuff. Right. And yeah, that was those guys. I'm going to draw Moldy Baloney now that I mentioned him. He's down here. and Moldy Baloney was a space pirate. These space pirates that would show up every once in a while. We had Space Ape. Oh my gosh, Space Ape was cool. I could draw. I had a lot of characters. I should bring these back and just relaunch this. Relaunch this comic strip. This is the little angry piece of baloney. Wait, he had like a little sword. Do it daily on Instagram. Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I think my days of those types of comic strips are behind me. I don't know. I don't have the passion for it anymore for that part. Maybe. Who knows? I don't know. Might be worth goofing around and just trying it out. Well, that'd be a trip. I don't remember what made me stop doing it, except that there was a lot of stress back then. I was a young dad, and I think I went. I got a job at a local factory around the time because it was just like not enough. You know, I don't remember exactly why I quit. I was mad that the syndicate just wanted my list, and I didn't want to give it to them. I don't think I ever did. And it turned out that syndicate was just kind of a janky outfit from Virginia. I think they were from Virginia, and they went under shortly, not long after that. But I was able to say, "Hey, I'm syndicated now." Wow. It wasn't the greatest, but I did the 50. I got into the 50 newspapers. I think they added 10 to 15 papers that they had in their network, and I never saw a dime from them. I signed some papers. Um, yeah, I gotta find that. I gotta find Moldy Baloney had something else to him besides just being a piece of angry baloney. Um, he was something. Gosh, oh, it's killing me, guys. I just was cleaning this office right before this, and oh man, maybe tomorrow stream I'll have it. I know I'll have it because it was just here in my face for like. Wait, I think I see it. Hold on, right back. Oh man, got it. Where am I though? Okay. Uh oh. Oh, I turned my. Okay. All right. Getting there. I'm getting there. All right. Found it. This was one of the This was one of the stapled packets for this strip, and just gonna hold it up for a minute. Speck was his name. Speck was the character's name. And look, there's Moldy Baloney on the front, on the first page there. Space Pirate, doing it for the gas money. All right. Yeah. Wow. This was 2001. These ones were from like year two, I think. But yeah, there was a whole thing about. Hold on a second, I got it. Now I'm looking through this. Moldy Baloney was showing up to kidnap everybody or something. 1 second. Thought maybe Space Ape was in this one, but I guess not. Space Ape was cool. They're just so silly. Like, look at this. This is like classic stupid. Like, I'm gonna pull this one up. Oh, there was a rabbit named Jack too. Sorry, it's Jack Rabbit. Really weird, really weird characters. So, he's losing his hair. A mirror that tells you look fabulous. You know, that kind of stuff. That was a whole shtick for like a week. Right. Yeah. I don't have. I've got. This is it. Like, this is it. Like, that's all I have. There's probably digital files somewhere on like a zip drive. He was Bologna with a G. Bologna. Yeah. Gosh. So I guess he had like a little mold thing, and he had a cape, right? A little stupid. There you go. Space pirates. Yeah, and so at some point, Space Ape showed up, and then that became a whole thing that almost took off. Like, we almost did some children's books with Space Ape. Crazy. Been around the block here, but yeah, that's what I mean. Like, pretty early on, I just kind of was like, hey, my dream was to get into newspapers, and I did that. And it was never good enough for people. Like, they're like, well, you're not with a real syndicate. And I'm like, I'm in 50 freaking newspapers. Prove it. And I'd be like, trying to get copy. You know how hard it was back then? And then, like, this was 2000 to 2001. I think 1999 is when I started that. So it was almost 3 years doing that strip, man. Whew. 6 days a week. So, yeah, I think I could still draw these characters, but I don't know if I have the gags in me anymore. You know, I don't know if I have the wit to make a daily funny thing. That's why I was moving into Space Ape, because that was just this fun adventure, like a Buck Rogers sort of thing, where the Space Ape was trying to get home, find his way home, kind of thing. That was easy. So he was just doing. There were space ninjas and stuff like that. That was just fun, silly, silly thing. But I wonder now. I wonder, like, you know, makes you wonder if something like this would actually be appealing to anybody now. It was definitely fun. Personal life, though, no. I mean, when you're not making a whole lot of money and you're putting all that work in, oh my gosh. So I think I did have to go work. I want to say I went to work at. Time is so weird. I can't remember the years now, but I want to say that I went to go work at Sony, the factory here, because there was so much pressure on me back then. Like, that was the big place that you're supposed to go work. I think I talked about this before in my newsletter. And I just said, screw it. I'm going to give in and go do that. So, yeah, I ditched the newspaper dream and went to go work a regular job for a little bit. But as I worked at a regular job, I was working on my comic books like Zombieopolis. And then I just said, to hell with it. It's all web comics right around that time. But I'm probably getting things out of order. There's just so much I did. God, it's bananas. Thanks for your patience. Now, I've brought back Galgaki and Wildebeest a couple times in other comics as like a nod to that. where they were real monsters, though. I don't think I have them on this iPad, but I drew some Secret Forces strips for the Pittsburgh Current newspaper, and I had these big monsters on there that were like him all grown up with. Oh, and I'm not sharing the screen either. What am I doing here? There we go. My bad. Yeah. The trick to making a strip characters was that that black and white contrast, you know. So you always kind of wanted to have something that was easy to draw over and over again. Simple backgrounds for reproduction, purposes. Man, I had no idea I was going to draw these guys tonight. If you watch the first part of the stream, I was like, I guess I'm just going to draw these astronauts. And then I'm like, wait a minute. Space. It's really funny because I really thought I was onto something back then when I was like, there are no daily news strips that take place in outer space. Probably for good reason. I don't know. I was told once by a guy that worked at King Feature Syndicate. I had a conversation with him, and he told me that it was because people couldn't relate to outer space. So with their daily strips that they would put in King Features, and I don't know what they were getting, the modern day King Features, it was always pets or animals or something like that, where they could see themselves in the strip. So like science fiction was kind of like, whoa, guy, nobody can. What the hell's this moldy piece of baloney doing? You know. But yeah, I hustled for many years doing that. I had a strip called Mikey that I tried to bring back from like my high school days. It was in the high school newspaper. I thought I was going to come right out of high school and I was going to submit. So I made a strip called House Blend. And actually, Moldy Baloney came from the strip called House Blend. And I just liked him so much, and my friends liked him that we were like, let's just put him in. I'll just put him in the strip. And but House Blend had that Jack Rabbit. He was the cook at this little diner or this little coffee shop called House Blend. It was more like a college newspaper strip than anything. And I did a lot of those. I did so many, what are those, like submission packets? Got so many rejection letters, you know. But there was no internet with those. Definitely, the internet was not a thing. But when Gravity came, when there was an opportunity for Gravity, there was the internet, and I was like, I can put strips up online for free, which made the other cartoonists lose their minds. The professional guys that would usually just ignore you, you know, because you weren't good enough to be in the newspapers or whatever. But it wasn't about being good enough. As a matter of fact, years later in webcomics, we found this out. I'm not going to call anybody out about this, but there was some popular newspaper strips. There was a really popular newspaper strip, and he was stealing gags from webcomics from our friend Zach Miller had a comic called Joe and Monkey. He was stealing from Joe and Monkey. He was stealing from. There was another one that he stole from, and mine. He stole one of my gags because I had this gag called Bricko Silence, where you had to like stuff it. You know, if someone was saying something you didn't like, there was the Bricko Silence, and we found we could calculate. We actually talked about this privately. The little group of us, a little group of cartoonists called Boxcar Comics at the time, I think. Little collective. It was Joe Dunn and Tom Brazelton and a couple of good friends, some of which are Joe Dunn's here on uh, the stream, or on the doing the cool drawings for the challenge. I mean, and anyways, we found out that this guy was quite possibly ripping off gags from our webcomic collective. And we timed it because we knew that he had to stay like 6 to 8 weeks ahead for his daily schedule. So we would just like see what was coming out and then like go back 8 weeks for what was published online, and we would see like he stole this gag. He stole this gag. Straight up. They were like, you know, he would. I made a strip about it and caused a bunch of stir, you know. And then the guy was mad and said, call me up." And I was like, "No, I'm not talking to you, thief." It's what my wife calls old DJ. I'm not like that anymore. Behave myself. But I was young and fiery and call it like I saw it, you know. Stephen Pastis from Pearls Before Swine. You know what you did. I know what you did. And it was easy pickings, man. You know, you had all these young guys out here on the internet just throwing up tons of gags. And when you're in it, when you're in this game, like, you need to feed that beast. Your strips have to be funny, and you're looking for jokes on late night TV shows. You're looking for jokes anywhere, and they repurpose them because it is quite a thing to do. You can do it for a while and be way ahead with your jokes and stuff, and write your own stuff, but they gotta fill it. So they go and they repurpose stand up comedy. They watch everything, and there it was. You know, these web comics, easy pickings. They thought. So he made a strip called Towel O Silence. And I was like, give me a freaking break, bro. I went off. I got kicked out of this forum too around that time called the Weisenheimer. And the Weisenheimer was like I was, you know, honored to be in that group because it was all these cartoonists that I and all these professional cartoonists. But around that time, people were just skeptical of this new breed of cartoonist that was out there online hustling, and they kind of saw it as hurting them, but really is like they just, you know, the newspaper game was dying, still is dying. I shouldn't talk about this stuff. No one's gonna find it, but just I don't want to call forth the negative energy of that time, you know. But yeah, it's all out there somewhere on the internet. You can find it, I'm sure. But Gravity was a fun little strip. Wacky. You know, I think I leaned more towards wacky. So I didn't need to really come up with too many, unique gags because I had a moldy piece of bologna and a rabbit man. There was a whole story about the rabbit man, how he hated himself, which, you know, I drew that in the 90s, early 90s, and I was like, this guy was rich and he hated how he looked in the mirror. He just wanted to be a rabbit. And so he got prosthetically changed to be a rabbit man. And he thought his friends would be supportive, and he got outcast by his friends. Everyone thought he was a freak. And he just kind of had to get a job, give up his, he spent all of his money to make himself look like a rabbit. And his friends and family just hated him because he spent his entire fortune. Jack the Freakish Rabbit Man is what they called him. You know, how surface that was back then, but interesting now. It's interesting. I think it might have been, maybe it was deeply resonating with something. I had a lot of friends that, weren't comfortable in their own bodies, let's say. And you couldn't talk about that stuff in the 90s. You'd be ostracized or made fun of or whatever. Interesting. Raslosen says, how do you maintain your continuity doing comics? I always have a hard time keeping a character going. Yeah, I guess you just have to stick to like model sheets. I don't really do model sheets, like the whole turnaround thing. I just draw a character like once or twice, and maybe I would starting out, I'd maybe post that up somewhere just to look and go, how did I get his hair? But I mean, I drew these from memory, and this was 21. This was 22. This was 2001. And again, I'll throw it up real quick here. But there's Captain Crafty and Zip. They're just kind of embedded in your brain, Let's find another one. Just turn the page here. Oh, they had Moldy Baloney's eyeball. He was coming for Captain Crafty because this is why the space pirates are coming. Ew, is that an eyeball? Not just any eyeball. This here is Captain Moldy Baloney's eye, leader of the space pirates. You took his eye? No, I won it in a game of chance fair and square. You gambled with pirates? I wouldn't call it gambling, more like cleaning them out. That was March 9th, 2001. Crazy. So yeah, he was coming back for his eye. And I think the more you just draw it over and over again, it's just embedded in there. That's 22 years ago. God dang it. Or something like that, yeah. But my tattoo artist once said to me when I was doing Hero by Night, and he was just like, how do you do that? The same character over and over again from different angles, and it's crazy. And I'm like, I never thought about it before. It's crazy. I don't understand it. I just think that you just kind of embed these characters in your head somehow, and they're in there. Once they're like actors. They're living in your head. It sounds weird, but it's the only way I can describe it. Here they are, back from 21 years ago. Saw them on the shelf today when I was cleaning. I found this one lone packet that I had left of these guys. And now they're back to life. It's pretty amazing. And that leads me to thinking about I've been reading that book. I talked about it. been reading it every morning. Stephen Pressfield's book. And this morning there was a whole slew of him like going to Hollywood and becoming a screenwriter and all this stuff. And like he had some like really profound things in that book about creativity and like the journey, the creator journey. And here I am not sharing my screen again. Darn it. I need like a whistle or someone to tell me. All right. I'll look up occasionally. Sorry, guys. Um, but yeah, he was saying how um, he moved to California and thought, I'm going to be a screenwriter now because his novels failed. And it turned out this was like the heyday of spec writing. You know, you write a spec script and then you get like a little agent guy to run it around to studios. And he finally did get, like, he's like, I got paid to write, but the thing never got made, like $500. But he'd go to this guy's house. I forget the guy's name, but he's like, we'd get there and we'd write, started to get to know the guy. And he told the guy, yeah, I'm a failed writer. I wrote 3 novels and never got them published. And the guy said, just keep working. And he goes, okay. And then that's all he said. Just keep working. And then he said, he got talking to him again. He's like, what did you mean, just keep working? He's like, just keep working. Just keep going. Keep going. And over time, they'd have conversations and he'd elaborate a little bit. And he said, you know, in Hollywood, just like in anything, you're out there and you're working in it and you're meeting people along the way, from the sound guy to the PAs. Like you're learning something. You'll talk to editors. You're learning. You're just learning the whole craft, um, just by being there. And the reason that stood out to me was he said something like, you know, the person that's the PA right now, just be nice to them because they might be the person that's an executive one day that's going to buy your spec script, and remember that you were nice to them, you know, and you've got the years in, you know. Um, I thought that was interesting. And that reminds me of comics too. I mean, there was a guy that worked with us. He was an intern at Platinum Studios. Platinum had a bunch of interns, I think, named Nick Jones. And now Nick Jones is a bigwig at Netflix. Now, I would never reach out to Nick Jones and say, hey, guy, let's do a show, you know? But I'm just like so happy for that guy. Like, you did it, man. You freaking did it. That's cool. And, you know, that's the same in comics, too. We're just putting I'm going to throw some color on these guys tonight. I'd be lying. What a U-turn that would be if DJ just decided, you know what, guys, I'm bringing back this old cartoon strip. I don't care what anybody wants. Just doing it. I would do it, but I really don't. I don't feel like I have the confidence to write um, jokes. I think it'd be really weird. And it's really not the. I mean, I don't know. I can draw in different styles, but you know, I want to do science fiction stuff again. But then, you know, there is something easy about this, like something fun and loose, and you know, I don't know. I like doing the biting commentary, but then I also don't like the drama that comes with that sometimes. So, like, if I was drawing this strip now, there might be something I'm probably making fun of, like Elon Musk or something like that. Because if this is in the future, right, my mind would go to something like, um, oh, I don't know. My mind would go to something like Elon Musk is still alive. He's not like a cyborg, and he's invented all this stuff. Like he invented the rocket ships that failed or something, and like now he's just a robot, or he's an AI or something. and he's still owning Twitter in the future or something dumb, and the whole universe has evolved, and he's not. He's like, I still have electric cars, and they're like, we got freaking spaceships, you know. And they're like, this is the guy that invented PayPal 1,000 years ago, you know, something like that. Yeah, that could be the 4 panel comic. I don't know. But the spinoff from Gravity was definitely Space Ape. Space Ape had a, I don't know if you guys know Big Barda from like the Jack Kirby comics, but Mr. Miracle. There was a character that was like an Amazon because Space Ape landed on this planet of Amazon women. So like, you know, this was around the time of Liberty Meadows was out, Frank Cho, and so like the shtick was like draw a sexy girl in your strip, you know. And I'm like, all right, I'll do that. So I drew this Big Barda looking girl, and I thought it was a good contrast with the cute little ape character, and then her, and like we did this like that ran online somewhere, and we pitched that to newspapers too. But of course, there's no way they would touch that. And then we thought about some children's books too, because that was fun. That was a fun like, so he had this little crew of people on his little spaceship, and yeah, that was a fun little adventure. We did about 40 to 50 of those strips. I thought they were online somewhere, but they mostly were pitches, I think. And then, but Space Ape was cool. It had that Buck Rogers feeling to it, or yeah, Buck Rogers. Kind of like lost, trying to find his way home, kind of thing, trope. But then there was a ninja planet, space ninjas, where they would go and steal. Like the ninjas would steal, and like they had a junk planet full of all the stuff that they stole, kind of. And then they were like trapped on the ninja planet trying to get parts for their ship and all this stuff. So yeah, there's so much sci-fi stuff out there now. This would just be goofy, you know. I don't know. It doesn't really. It's fun to revisit them. Say, here they are. Oops. Isolate this layer. The backgrounds were always very simple. There was usually like a window. Just two lines like this. Sort of the outside. All right, so change to blue, bluish, metal. Now there was a webcomic out there that was pretty popular, pretty unknown, like to the masses, but it had a pretty good following. I forget the guy's name. Schlock, it was called Schlock Mercenary. That was around the same time. So that had he had his own little um, Howard something, I think. Gosh, so long ago. Or whatever happened to that. Schlock Mercenary. And they had a little crew of characters, and I was like, this is cool. I like this. But yeah, I don't know what became of that. He had books and toys and stuff, all kinds of stuff. Same thing. He was doing his own, publishing and self-publishing and stuff like that. I don't think they ever got it into like newspapers or anything like that, or wanted to. I don't think. I don't think so. Should have a space brush here. Space. Oh, no. 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 Hmm. Wash. Wash going. Yeah, these guys should be pretty easy to draw because we got just Peach. Let's go back up to the good old. Oops. Not bad for just 1 hour, even though I restarted the the idea from tonight's stream. I guess I did know what their colors were because his outfit here will be green. So I guess I did have some color comics somewhere, but not in the paper. Not in the paper. So we're just gonna do him real quick. Blonde hair. Let's get in there a little bit. Getting multiple characters tonight. Jeez. What am I doing? I was just gonna come on here and draw some astronauts floating around space and then just call it a night, but here we are. We're in the zone now. You know. I think that was also the plot of Space Ape comic was that Captain Crafty from Gravity comic strip had been kidnapped and they were going to find him. And they rescue him from the ninja planet. So this is all within 50 strips that I drew. And then he becomes part of their crew. So it's Captain Crafty, the lady, I forget her name, Space Ape. They were going to gather the one-armed zombie from a zombie planet. So there were all these different planets that had like, it was goofy though. There was like a zombie planet, but it wasn't like brain zombies. They were just like undead people, death energy people. It was silly. It was high silliness. So. Definitely was not expecting to be drawing this stuff tonight. I think they had white gloves, which is weird. Zip definitely had white gloves and shoes, white eyes. Might as well just do it while I'm in here. So you can skip around if you want. I don't like the blue on there, so we're just gonna change that up. Now his boots are bothering me, so I'm gonna change those boots too. What a waste! I just wanted to look more, uniform. The blue wasn't working for me. Easy enough though. There's Captain Crafty. Great. We'll give him a little highlight on his hair just because. And we'll do. Yeah, there were definitely vibes from my different comic strips I liked, and Jetsons vibes. I liked the Jetsons when I was a little kid. Nope. Definitely green dots on the side of him. This robot's pretty easy to do. Just change him to that. I know that he had different. His arms were different lighter color. Screen was white. Yeah, I still draw robots like this all the time. Usually with like little long legs and stuff. Draw them around work and draw them around different places. They just come out. Little hover robot. Give him his highlight. Do something with the stars in the background there. Also, the floor needs to be fixed. All right, we'll get there. We'll get there. Almost there. It's pretty amazing whenever you can remember that long ago. These characters are just kind of in there. I guess, if you knew how to draw Garfield or something like that, yeah, you could probably just bust down and draw any characters that you've drawn over and over and over again. Spider-Man. You know, it's definitely there was a little nerdy girl named Meg in this comic strip that he had a crush on. She was kind of like a Dexter's Laboratory sort of nerd. I was going to do that. That's good enough. Good enough. I'm sure that they had more of a symbol on their chest or something before. Maybe I didn't. I think I took it off because it was, again, when you were drawing them over and over and over again, kind of wanted them to be as simple as possible. We'll get into this guy. Oh no! What? Okay. What's going on? Just to add some. Space floor. Space flooring. Same thing with that part of the wall. Little subtle things in cartooning can make a big difference. Just that little drop shadow underneath that little lip there. And, same thing with the highlight above the window. Those white gloves are bothering me, to be honest. I'm going to change them. It's bothering me. It's weird. Looks like he's a chef or something. Actually, don't like any of that. I'm going to make it a suit. I don't like the skin. I'm going to fix that. It's kind of like a proper spacesuit now. Come on. Crafty was always getting in trouble, doing things he wasn't supposed to, like, you know, having Moldy Baloney chase him after he stole Moldy Baloney's eye, won it fair and square. Let's just. Now I do know that, you know, definitely Moldy Baloney was inspired by that weird movie One Crazy Summer with the hamburgers and stuff dancing. That movie was stuck in my mind. Like someone just told me that too. Daniel Batal told me. Uh, he's like, remember that movie One Crazy Summer? Like John Cusack. I'm like, yeah. He's like, you remind me of that. Like you could draw all the cartoons that guy drew and all that in the movie. I'm like, that's thanks. I think it was One Crazy Summer. Yeah, with the VHO with it. Right. Everybody wants some. Yeah, of course. That's how we did it. I don't know. You can see it now that I said it right. Yep. Definitely inspired by that movie. So stupid. Someone said like, "Oh, that's right. His little arms were like green, like just like a funky. He had little white gloves and little green legs. Super weird. Distant space cousin. Yeah. Moldy Baloney lives. He still exists. He lives again. Get a little wheel of fancy ears. shadow in that eye. Nothing no one will ever notice. Never will matter. But it matters to me, god dang it. Let's throw some space. Because we need space. That's the prompt, right? So I'm going to go find that nebula brush. See what happens. Nope. Space cloud. Oh, okay. Dark blue. I thought that it would. Nope. Let's see what happens. Oh, okay. That's how we're supposed to do it. Right? Look at that. All right. Sweet. And then I like to just dot the little stars in there myself. They're in there, but they're too speckled out a little bit. No. All right. Everybody needs some space. Cool. Well, there we go. That's the little small cast of Gravity. Is probably like, now that I'm drawing this, I'm like, oh yeah, there was this character and there was that character, and there was Meg, and Meg had a little robot. There was another little boy, and there was another robot that was like a space robot that hung out with Moldy Baloney. Fun times. There they are. Gravity. Let's throw some of the color pack in there. No, no. Right. Where am I here? Okay. No. What the heck? Okay. Need space. That's a little trip down memory lane for me. Something nobody remembers. There they are. Oldies but goodies, I guess. All right, guys. That's it. That is day 21. Day 21. We'll see you back here tomorrow night. Thanks for watching. Thanks for drawing. Hope you're staying encouraged out there. Keep drawing every day. All that jazz. Back here tomorrow for day 22. We'll see you guys soon. Back to cleaning up my office now. See you then.